So, are we doing the smooth jazz intro or?
No, we've already.
You've tuned in to the Walking Blind podcast.
What you need to hear right now is that the Chicago Bulls theme song is going on right now. So you gotta play. You gotta do that energy, because that fucking.
I got a story about energy from when we were kids. All right, let's go. Let's do this.
Walking Blind is hosted by overly emotional dudes who overthink and overanalyze everything. Nothing the hosts say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. They're not professionals, and they're about to make that very clear. So just kick back and hang with them, because you've earned it.
Just think of that.
You need
right
the
now.
doom, the old Michael Jordan intro. All right, we're good. We're good. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Walking Blind podcast, episode 43, the show where we normalize checking in on the homies. I'm Mike. This is also Mike, and we got a special guest in the building this week. This is my brother. This is my mentor. This is Bryan Bowens.
Yo, what's up?
I feel like we need a round of applause, but it's like we don't have enough people in here to clap. There we go.
clap it up.
So there's a lot of times when I talk about my brother, this and this. I feel like nobody's actually expecting you.
A brother, right?
a brother, right? So I'm always like, yeah, my brother, he's a brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so we actually go way back to the Georgia days.
Yeah.
And I've told some stories about how back in the day before the Mikey Diamonds stuff, which I need to get your opinion on.
Okay.
On that back in the days, I was just that kid that would hang out and I would sit in the back and then watch everybody freestyling and rapping and making beats and stuff like that. Like back to the days where we were recording on mini discs.
Yep.
Like we didn't have any like digital workstations. Nobody had laptops or anything like that. It was like straight to a mini disc. I have to like do 38 layers of like beats and stuff like that. And I like had no clue what I was doing. Like I would just sit back. I wanted to rhyme everything with AK and day. Those were the only two things I knew how to rhyme. And then I would just sit back and like watch all these dudes like doing music and like producing, rapping, shows, like going to those little concerts and stuff at the little clubs when I was too young to get in, but since I was like with the crew, they allowed me in, but I had to stay in certain sections in certain areas. So yeah, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of time back then. So stoked you're here.
Yeah, man, glad to be here.
Just got back from a nice little vacation.
Yeah, man, enjoyed that as well. Good times.
So let's jump in and we start every episode with our Mike Perez or mental health check. Basically just checking in on everybody, see how you guys are doing, see how everything's going, and we go from there. You want to kick us off?
Yeah. So I feel like mentally I've been good, and I think it's because I've been pretty good about, like we joke about how like I'm just like the worst at keto. That's like the diet I've been doing. But even though I'm like not doing the greatest on that, like I'm still doing better. Like I'm still more conscious about what I'm eating. And
Last episode was an eye opener.
Yeah. We can blame the camera as much as we want, but
yeah, we could just lose weight.
We can just lose weight. I think that's what it comes down to. But and then I think just being able to like exercise, I feel like that's been really good for me mentally. I've been sticking with the jump rope. A little hard this weekend because this weekend, I'll get into it, just kind of crazy. But I think all that has been great for me mentally, and yeah, I feel like I'm doing well. Hoping to get back on track this week. So that's where I'm
So I'll jump in. I have been, I'm good right now. Kind of talked about last week how I found out about Isley and the brain tumor and everything. But she's been having really good days. Like she hasn't been too crazy, like off. So that's been good. And then other than that, just we had a like pretty chill little weekend. Watched the fight. You flew in yesterday. We kicked it in LA. Everybody bought shoes, so that's exciting. You somehow managed to find some Jordan 3s in a 13. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know,
Over there sitting in the box. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of, and then just kind of falling back into it's. Ever since this build like finished here, I've been able to get back to like normal swing of things. Like even just simple stuff like being able to just be on track with my laundry and like be on track with, instead of like coming home and like spending hours in here and then going and working on something else. So that's been nice. And now I'm like, now that everything's kind of settled here and everything's kind of like, you know, looking good, I'm trying not to immediately turn my focus to the Feels on Wheels, but at the same time,
we can wait a little on that. We can chill.
I don't know. There's another podcast that I follow that also follows us that made a comment about a mobile studio the other day. And
Really?
like, fellas, you know who you are. Shout out to After the Breakdown because they've got a cool little show going on, and I saw a little post they put up about mobile studio, and boys, we were here first.
Yeah, ours is coming. Technically we have it. We just gotta move our cameras in. That's all.
Yeah, but then again, that would be sick if you guys put together a little studio on wheels too.
We can just meet up somewhere.
No,
Dude. We do like a tour barbecue kind of thing.
that'd be sick. Meet halfway.
Yeah, find
Waste a bunch of gas.
Find a Walmart to just fucking grill at. That'd be sick.
Yeah, man. So I feel good right now. How about you, man? How you doing?
Man, mental health is going good, actually. Like they said, been on vacation for the past couple of weeks, so that was very relaxing. You know, I got kids, so for me, it's always going to be a little up and down because it's not like can't worry just about yourself. You got to worry about your kids too. But you know, they're doing good, and when they do good, that makes me do excellent. So. Nice. You know, everything's going well with me, but I can relate about the weight stuff and getting back on track with that. Like we were talking about before, it's like, man, I was doing so good before vacation hit. Now I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like shit. You know, it's like, it's going to be a struggle getting back. You know, I was working out almost every day, and to be off for 2 weeks. Yeah. It's like, man, I don't even know if I feel like going to the gym anymore.
It's also crazy that like you went to, you know, you went to the Philippines, you went to the motherland for me, and the food out there is just like, you can't,
dope.
Not eat the street food, and you can't not eat the snacks, man.
Everything was good besides the bullock, and I think I'm saying it right, the bullock. So, man, what that is like the chicken is still in the egg. It's like when the chicken is getting...
It's a duck. It's a duck egg, yeah.
Okay, so the duck you can see. Like, it's forming. You can see the head, the beak.
Yeah, it just depends on what stage you get it at.
Listen, it was a mental thing. I tried a very small piece of it, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good on that. But I was there kicking it with my girl Aubrey, and her dad was just like, don't think, just eat. I'm just like, I don't think that's gonna work because I already saw it. And they're like, you're not a real Filipino if you don't eat this. I was like, well, shit, I'm African American, so you know it was gonna work out anyways.
So, have you seen Bullet before?
I have. Yeah, I remember Martin finding some in his house and not realizing that. I was like, oh, this is what that is. Yeah.
So, like the theory, like the way that my uncle likes to describe it is, you'd get the balut, right, and then you just crack open the top a little bit so that all the juices and everything stay inside. And he's got a picture right here. Yeah. So that's what it looks like.
Just as black as that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can put that on camera, but the black
it on camera if we mark it. But so like you get the balut, and then you crack open the top a little bit, and then you pour your salt or whatever inside, and you slurp the juice out, right? Okay. Then you can peel it, and then you get to the the duck.
The little duck.
The little duck. Sometimes, depending on when you get it and how it's formed, there might be a beak or there might be some feathers. You know, just like depending on the sweet spot that you get it in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it's a delicacy for them, man. They love it. I just could. It's just my mental just couldn't take it. But all in all, though, the food is actually excellent out there. You know, you're gonna have some things that you might try, and you're like, yeah, I'll pass on that. But for the most part, food is excellent. I was telling Mike, Aubrey had fried some chicken, and I was like, Mike, that chicken's better than my aunt. And my aunt's a Southern woman who can cook.
That's a big deal.
Whoa.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
I'm talking about that. I was like, yeah, next time I come back, I'm gonna need that fried chicken again.
His aunt would make fried chicken for the potlucks, right?
Like if we did stuff at church, sometimes she'd make it. And,
So first off, going to Southern Baptist all black church when you're a tiny little Filipino kid was always interesting because everybody's paying attention to you and they're all trying to feed you and they're all trying to put food in your belly. Like, oh, you gotta try this. Oh, you gotta try this. And then you got the ladies that are competing. Like, try my chicken. No, try my chicken. Then which one's better? And I'm like, ooh, y'all are asking me some real tough questions right now. But yeah, that's a pretty big feat if she was able to do chicken that good.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Like
I tried. Tell your aunt?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to let her know. You know what though? She's retiring from the game anyway. She's like trying to pass it down to my cousin and everything. But listen, Aubrey got it right now, bro.
Dude,
she kind of got that title, man.
That's huge. When you were out there, like we're thick boys. We fixed our camera angles though. So what was a food that you were expecting to not like and that you ended up liking out there? Or was there something that you looked at, you're like, nah, I'm not having that. And then you tried it and you were like, oh, okay.
So in the province of Mindoro, they have a black crab. Well, it's mud crab.
Yeah.
But when you cook it, it comes out black.
Okay.
Right? I was skeptical of that. But that was actually very, very good. It kind of, the way it was, her dad explained it to me, it almost reminds me of like catfish. You know, they kind of bury in the mud and stay on the bottom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like a river or lake crab that they have. They don't pull out the ocean, pull out the river. And I was a little skeptical of that one because, I'm like, nah, man, crabs don't look like that where I'm from. And it's black. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? But it was really good. It was really good.
Okay.
The chicken and pork adobo, man, that was fire too.
Yeah.
The only difference for me is I'm not a huge rice eater. I'll eat it sometimes, but out there rice is just pretty much every meal.
Yeah,
breakfast, lunch,
staple.
and dinner.
Yeah.
So, but that was one of the main ones that I tried that I really liked.
Okay.
Yeah. And that and the adobo. The adobo is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The adobo is definitely you've never had adobo even at the house?
Nope. Let me tell you something, Mike.
You weren't as adventurous.
And I'm still not quite as adventurous. I'm getting a little bit better. But, when I went to Mike's house after school one time, of course we're hungry, been at school all day. Mike said, oh, man, look in the fridge, get you something. And I saw the fish heads.
Yep.
And it was fish head soup, I think.
Something like that.
And I was just like, yeah, no.
Like, I'm not hungry anymore.
Not going to be able to do that, brother.
It's the most delicious part.
And you know what?
Eyes.
You know what? That's what they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, my pops is a fisherman, and when he catches fish, the head always gets gone, brother. Now we'll eat the fish tail.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Crisp that up real nice. Mm-hmm. But the head, not so much. I'm thinking about the brains and all the insides. I'm not sucking that.
It's just a little bit, you know what I mean?
What about you? Would that be something you would do?
Mike's not much of an adventurous eater either.
But I mean, I will. Like I don't even know what I ate in China, but I ate some questionable things out there. I didn't have
what were their
spider. Names? They had like we went to this like the market and they had all kinds of crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I for sure I don't think I could do the egg. The
duck. It's seeing the
I don't think I can do that.
The same way.
But man, I don't know, fish head soup.
What about like crickets and stuff like that?
I think I can do crickets.
Yeah, I think even I tried cricket.
I think I can do crickets.
Spider, scorpion, that type of that stuff freaks me out.
You know what though? In a weird way, I feel like it could. Like if I knew if it was like I know this sound.
It wasn't gonna come back to life in your mouth.
Well, no, but not like if it was like salted a certain way, you know what I mean, or if it was like dipped in chocolate, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because I feel like Christian had like chocolate crickets or something like that, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a cop out. It's cheating.
Yeah.
I would have to cheat then.
Yeah.
If that's a cop out. I'm definitely cheating.
Okay.
I'm not doing a spider. You would do a spider?
No, I'm not doing a spider.
Roach?
I'm not doing a roach.
Ooh, I'm not gonna do a roach.
I don't know if I can do that.
Can't do the roach?
Yeah. Did you?
Okay. Nah, no roaches, brother.
Okay. I was about to say, yeah, that'll freak me out.
Was when you were out there, was there any like touristy things you went and saw, or like?
Yeah, I went to an area called Puerto Galera, and that's where you'll see a lot of foreigners there, especially a lot of foreigner men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like one of the men hubs out there.
It's the hub for a young or old single man.
Shit, old. Let's not cap. A lot of them were old. But
Old
they were
with money.
pulling 9s and 10s and 11s and 12s. Yeah.
Mike.
I actually ended up sitting in for a band out there, on a song playing. But listen, that's where they were at. And the women they don't care if you're with somebody or not. They're gonna wave, try to talk to you on the slaps. You with somebody, you know. I would consider that one of men's paradise areas.
Okay.
So if you're single, go there. You won't have any problem.
Yeah, we were talking last night because we went to dinner with my dad. Because you haven't seen my dad either since they moved out here and everything, right?
Right.
So we went out and met up with my pops, and we went to the Korean barbecue spot. Floors are still slippery, dude. Like the floors everywhere you go, you're just sliding all over the place. But yeah, even my dad was saying like, you know who you guys need to take out there is Andrew. Like, yeah, we need to take Andrew out there. So
he shouldn't have any problem. Now I will say I stayed the first night at the Heritage Hotel. And in Manila, and every single person who worked there was just beautiful. I didn't see not one ugly woman.
Yeah, nice. The men too.
Like I did not see one ugly woman. Right, the men I can't speak for, but they were polite. You know what I'm saying? They were real polite. Everything is yes sir, or thank you po.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
but I fairly enjoyed it, and I'm definitely coming back. And your dad was just like, you need to take Mike with you. So what's up? You going to go? What are you going to do?
we got to see what's up.
When's the last time you went out?
I've never been to the Philippines.
You never been to the Philippines?
Never, I need
been
to
to my motherland, but you haven't been to yours?
Your motherland's way closer.
I'm more of a Filipino at this point than Mike.
Facts. Facts.
Mike's more Peruvian than I am.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, we
Also
did the Filipino shower and everything. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You use the tabo?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're a honorary official Filipino.
That's right. Listen, when I go back, I got pool over there now, man.
Dude, when you go, he'll show you around.
I know.
I will. Yeah. I'll have to show him.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna take you to your cousin's house.
That's
okay?
right. And when we go back, Aubrey's gonna have to show us around because I'm still learning.
Oh man, that's cool.
I want to go just to try that chicken.
Man, listen, yeah, come through. She'll have no problem hooking it up.
I also speaking of like chicken in the motherland, I did have chicken in Peru. That was like some of the best that I've ever had because they're all free range and then spiced and seasoned, and then they're on a rotisserie. I was like, this is. You guys want to get chicken after this episode? I don't know if this is gonna be as good as the fried chicken you had, but we can get something.
Yeah, we can. We're definitely gonna have to eat something.
Jesse's over there like punching camera buttons, drooling. All this conversation.
Oh no, he might want a big steak or something.
Oh man, we do something.
I had a carne asada and queso before I came, and this is still kind of killing me.
Is it?
Yeah. But, just to tie everything back up, the mental health game has been very good lately, though.
That's good.
Like I said, sometimes you got to get away, too, just to clear your own thoughts. when we're back here, you know, everybody, I guess, gets caught up with life and work and taking care of whatever responsibilities they have. And I think it's actually dope that when y'all open up y'all podcast, y'all check on each other's mental health and stuff like that, because that's not common, especially amongst men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we kind of keep all that stuff in and don't really talk about it. But, you know, that's good to check up on each other and see where everybody's at.
Yeah, man. The when we started this show, I mean, we've talked about it a lot on here, but when we started, it was, you know, me and Mike like meeting up on the weekends at the coffee shop, because there was a time period. Realistically, there was a time period during COVID where everybody went into lockdown, right? And then and everybody was like with their girlfriends or their significant others, and me and Mike were like, "Hey, what are you doing later?" So we just started hanging out like at the coffee shop every weekend. And then for years before that, I've been like, "Hey, Mike, let's get you on a podcast, get you on a show, get you on a podcast," you know? And then he's actually, you know, he had gone to school for social work, you know, and then a big part of the no bragging rights message is, you know, like mental health awareness. And, you know, so I was like, let's bring all that together, you know, and do that in the show. And I was just convincing. And finally I was like, Mike, I'll do everything. All you have to do is show up.
he literally was just like, he's like, okay. He's like, if for this to happen, like, tell me what you, and I was like, honestly, dude, I'll show up and I can do whatever my side of it. I'll come, you know, be prepared. I was like, everything else though, dude, I don't want to do. So he's like, okay. So if I did everything, like filmed it, edited, put it online, made it available, this and that, and you just showed up and but you would do it. Like, I was like, yeah. And so
Bet.
Took care of it, huh? And by the way, I know this is the only angle that they can see out there, but this is a dope setup, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a very dope setup.
This is the biggest, like, I told you so. Like, this is yeah.
Oh,
you know, I thought it was always going to be. I didn't even know we were going to have a camera the first time. It was just kind of be like audio and and then.
I think to me the part of this too was living out all the dreams that I wanted to live with, like the robot lab. But those dudes like Larry and Daniel and everybody, like nobody ever wanted to do a video aspect, right? They're always like, let's just audio only. And I was like, all right, cool, you know. And I like sitting around and like talking with my friends, just having conversations, whether it's like, you know, as Jolka likes to say, Marvel and DC facts that aren't actually true, or if, you know, like we're just talking nonsense. I just like hanging out with everybody and like just and then just like getting everybody's like story and conversation and stuff. So when finally I was like, Mike, I'll do everything, and he said yes, I was like, oh, we're doing video, we're doing this.
Actually, within that same times when we basically came up with the name too.
Yeah,
like it's like called. He's like, you're like, let's just call it like the Walking Blind Podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. In my mind, I kind of thought like a placeholder. I was like, all right, you know, it's good for now.
Yeah.
And then we had like a logo within like a week.
Yeah.
I was like,
when we do this? When we do this?
I was like, all right, I guess we're doing it for real.
And it works.
Yeah, man.
That's a good thing.
And like, I feel like every episode ever since we moved, well, every episode, this is the third episode since we moved into this room or into this little space, it's looked different because we were like, let's figure out what to do with the back wall. Like, let's not have this window here, you know, things like that. And then now we're just like, let's just keep it simple. Like, and I think that this works, you know, like before, like legit before you got here, cause you were staying in here.
Right.
Excuse me. We had black curtains, like black velvet curtains running around the back.
Okay.
And then I was like, it's ugly. I don't like the way it looks. So I took it all down and I patched like the holes. And then I was telling Mike, I'm gonna get that brick paneling and I'm gonna whitewash it and I'm gonna put up the brick panelings and make it look cool, you know, interesting and stuff like that. And then I finally, like, for the first time since this podcast has started, I stopped myself and I was like, hey, maybe you should just chill for a second and just let things be, you know? So I just kind of cleaned it up. And then I sent Mike a picture and he's like, yeah, let's just do it like that. It's fine. I was like, okay, let's just do it like that. So
all this being said,
Next week it'll look different again because we do have some stuff that's like on order.
Right.
We'll use this as a reference for I don't know when it'll happen. At some point, Mike will do something.
Yeah, I will do something different, but honestly, like I think it just looks clean the way it is. So I'm pretty stoked on it. And then plus, like, I mean, there was a majority of the reason why we did the studio was for the podcast, but also like, you know, I do voiceover work, things like that. So I needed like a dedicated space. And then I don't live in the biggest of houses, so I felt bad like when we moved, like when I moved Karima in, I would like, okay, it's Monday, we're gonna record. Y'all, you gonna go? You gonna get groceries or like
gonna run that errand?
Yeah, you gonna go run that errand for an hour and a half, 2 hours? And I felt like I felt bad because you know, I mean, like we talk about mental health, and then she's like having anxiety about being in the grocery store because, you know, Elliot's going all crazy and stuff, and I'm like, how's your mental health going? So
she's like, you just fucked it up.
Yeah, she's like, how about that?
Not good, Mike.
Yeah, not good. So yeah, there's kind of like a, you know, all of those pieces combined kind of led to this space, which, you know, in the end, I'm pumped on this. Like I'm excited about how it turned out and how it looks. Yeah. So it's cool, man. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about, so like I brought up in the beginning, we had, so we've talked about Mikey Diamonds on the show, but we haven't like really dove into like the story behind it and everything.
Okay.
So when like I said, when I was younger, like rapping and stuff like that was never like I'm going to do this. You know? I would just sit back and like listen to you guys all rap, you guys all freestyle, and like I would go to the shows and see you guys all performing and stuff like that. And I was just like the kid in the back. And we talked about energy, you know, at the beginning of the show, like getting all pumped with the Michael Jordan thing. Well, back in, you know, good old Suwanee, Georgia, when we were kids, I remember I was dating a white girl named Jordan. What's up, Jordan?
What's happening?
And so
15, 20 years later, what's good? What's good?
And I remember like it was after school, and like I didn't take the bus home. I was hanging out, you know, with Bryan, and he was like, "Yeah, man, just chill with me. You know, we'll give you a ride home or whatever, right?" And so like I'm this like little Filipino kid, not, you know, like nothing. I'm not that cool. I'm just like hanging out. And so my girlfriend's there at the time, and then her mom pulls up. Expedition, she, you know, pulls up. Back then, those were like brand new. So like, oh, they got, you know, nice ass car. And so I'm like, all right, you know, I'll see you later, and go to give her a hug. And then her mom is like moving stuff around the car, and she's loading up. And then here comes, was it Ty or was it Zaid and Tahir that were in the car? It was the Cadillac.
That's probably my cousin Keith coming to get us.
Okay.
If it's a Cadillac.
But Zaid and Tahir were there too.
Probably.
So they all pull up in this Cadillac, right? And like the second they turn that block, like you can hear the music all the way down the block, and then they turn into the parking lot to come pick us up because it's like a pickup lane.
Yep. Yeah.
They pull up right behind Jordan's mom, right? And so I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, see you later, you know. And I go to get in the car, and then so like here's like, you know, two like big black dudes in the front seats, and then here's Bryan in the back seat, and then here's, I think it was Zaid next to me, and I'm sitting in the middle, in the back, like this, like all tiny shit. And then they're like, "Yeah, we ready? All right, we're ready to go." And then like the music gets turned up, and like everybody's like jumping around, like, you know, all this energy and stuff, and pull out like around the car. Man, I was telling Bryan that night, my girlfriend called me, and she's like, "I'm not allowed to see you." I was like, why? And she's like, my mom got upset. She said I'm hanging out with gangsters with their systems booming. And I was like, well, but why? I just like didn't understand. She was like, my mom said I'm not allowed to date you. I was like,
does that make her want you even more though, you think?
We kept dating for a while after that. So, you know, it is what it is. But I thought that was the energy we need. Yeah. We need in this world is just a bunch of homies in the Cadillac, you know,
riding out.
Yeah, riding out,
bumping music and riding out.
Yep. So
you know, I think that's unfortunate. You know what? For me, I try to be a kind of person, like, I don't care where you are in your walk of life.
Yeah.
I don't care about your race, nationality, or whatever. If I'm not going to mess with you, it's going to be because you did something that makes me not mess
Absolutely
with you.
not.
You know what I'm saying? But just in the area that we grew up in, you know, I guess it's typical for some, but there's some good people in that area as well. But, you know, her mom should at least give you the benefit of the doubt and get to know you before making that decision.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe she was just like, got him. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. She probably didn't like you already, to be honest.
Probably.
Mike.
That makes sense. But I was such a good kid.
Yeah, you were.
I was such a good kid. Now, Jesse, back then, I was such a good kid.
Just shaking his head. Nah, for real, man. Mike was a good boy back then, man.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's funny. And me and my dad, have had this conversation.
And that reminds me, too, before don't hold their thought. Don't forget to tell your best man speech before we get out of here, too. That was epic.
So before I got like kicked out of my house in Georgia, me and my dad have had this conversation. Like when it was like I was the good kid that just, you know, hung out with all the degenerates basically, right? And not even that bad. Just like in the eyes of an Asian parent, everybody's bad. So my dad, you know, he just basically didn't want me going down a certain path, and he thought that I was. So like when you know, everybody would be hanging out and smoking weed and stuff, like I was just sitting to the side, like, yeah, I had a lighter, but I was fucking like a little pyro, like just lighting shit on fire. Like, you know, I'd hang out. Like, I mean, I smoked cigarettes as a kid. That was just because I thought it was cool. You know, and like, you know, things like that. Like, so I was never really, and like my first shot of Crown was with you. We were at that little house party at our buddy Matt's house. Okay. And Bryan was like, take this. And I was like, okay, take it. Like just almost died. I didn't know how to handle it. But I never really drank. I never smoked, never partied or anything like that. And then I started playing like metal punk rock stuff. And then like I was still hanging out with you guys and like listening, like involved with all the hip hop stuff, but I fell in with the crowd that was like playing heavy shit. And I liked the punk rock stuff because it was fast, it was aggressive. And I remember starting to play in a band, and then that was my focus, like just music. Because that was like, I loved the rap and hip hop stuff, but this was something I could do. Right? Like back then I couldn't do that, but I could do this. And so that was my focus. And then because of that, like I wasn't paying attention in school, you know, whatever. I started just like fucking off in my classes. And eventually to the point where my dad was just so frustrated. He's like, we got into this fight. He's like, you're a fucking smart kid. And like you just don't do shit. You don't apply yourself to anything. And I'm like, you know, so then it became the choice of you can either go to live in California with your aunt, with Philip's mom, with your aunt and your cousins, and go to school out there, or you can go to an all boys boarding school in North Carolina. And I was like, going back to Cali. and then
Fresh Prince, dude.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up coming back to California. And then I told my dad, like, I was like, you realize it wasn't until I moved back to California that I started fucking smoking and drinking and partying. Like I started doing all that out here. Like it wasn't even like, you know, and he was like, I just thought, you know, that you were going down. Like we had a heart to heart, and like one day I want to get him on the show and have like a real conversation with him. But, you know, he just like, there was just a lot of like, you know, miscommunication with teenagers that don't talk to their family. And shit, you know?
You assume things. And...
I think that's normal. But one thing about your dad, Mike, is like that man. You can tell he loves you and he will do anything for you. And I think when you start getting into the punk rock, heavy metal, and all that stuff, was maybe like the year after I graduated. Yeah, because I graduated a year or two before you. And in his defense, some things did scare a person who knows you a little bit. Like when you start wearing them tight ass pants, I was just like, dude, you okay? You know, like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I had to do a mental health check on you.
Those aren't in the men's section.
Yeah, like they were not.
These were before men had skinny jeans on the racks.
It was absolutely before then. Mm-hmm. And for
I'm
me,
OG in this shit.
Yeah, real talk. For me, it's just like, damn, like, what's up, bro? Like, I ain't never seen you switch it up like that.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's nothing wrong with it, but for someone we kicked it every day.
Yeah.
And then when we caught back up, I'm like, Mike, I could see your indention, bro. You don't think those are a little tight, man?
And this was the era when like all the like scene kids were wearing girl pants, and then also had like the color, like the bangs color, and just the Rufio era. Yeah.
So
I do remember. I remember you pulling me aside and being like, "The fuck are you wearing?" It was so concerned too. It wasn't even like he was like blasting me. It's like, what are you
Dude, that's a different type of, because there's like people can make fun of you and be like, like, what is that? But then when someone's like, dude, what is that?
After that conversation, when he realized like, oh, I'm still okay, I'm just like in this weird phase, he was just like, then he would just start clowning.
Yeah, of course.
Like on the regular, just
I'm big bro, so I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I had to make sure, like, do we need to talk? Like, what's make sure you're okay first.
Is anyone making you do this, or are you doing this?
Is this
you're doing this? Okay.
Your own decision?
All right.
So I think for Pops, man, he probably start to see a lot of different things that were changing with you that made him, be like, damn, like, son, what's really good? What's going on? Because I'll be honest with you, growing up, my Pops is a preacher, and he was gone a lot. Yeah. And I always resent me, him just over, I'd say the past 10 years or so, just got to a point where we're really close. Nice. And one thing about Mike and his Pops relationship is like, they always been close, and that's something I kind of envied about their relationship. So that's why I said, when you switch it up, he probably felt the same way. Like, what the hell is going on with you? Like, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Not just the clothes and stuff, but he probably was noticing maybe behavior changes.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's good enough to kind of let you still find your way.
Yeah.
But man, still handle your business, and I think that's where he was coming from. Like, find your way, but all this other shit you can't slack on either.
Do you think he maybe too, he might have saw a little bit like of himself and like what he kind of
he told me, he was like, because my dad like he was saying even last night, he got here when he was like 20.
Yeah.
Right. So he came to LA from the Philippines at 20 and went straight into the that era of Hollywood and Vine and Sunset rock and roll. Right? Yeah. So then my dad kind of seeing me like fall into, like, it's funny because at first, like when I think I told the story on the podcast about when I was a kid and his coworker Mandel would pick me up, and that's how I got into like R&B and like shit like that, because here's my dad, like we're in the South, we're in Tennessee, and like I'm 6 or 7, and here's this like black dude in the Cadillac pulling up to, it seems to be a trend in my life, pulling up to pick me up, and like we're in the car and he's like introducing me to like Jodeci,
that's right,
and like Drew Hill. I think Drew Hill was later on, but like all these like R&B and stuff. Like every time I get in the car, it'd be a different tape. Like, okay, what's this? What's this? And that's how I kind of like fell in love with that type of shit. And then so my dad has always been like really open-minded, but like for a period of time, he just, I don't know if he didn't want me to get in trouble or to get like involved with shit, but like before I had the skinny jeans and swooped hair, I had the Echo shirts and like the Vocal jeans, man. And dog, I was wearing do-rags. I had do-rags on underneath my hat. Look at Jesse. I had the do-rag like with the flap out in the back. And it was just like, that's why it makes sense why there was just such a dramatic, like Bryan graduated and then like he was doing his thing, whatever, working all the time and stuff. And then I like was hanging out with the punk rock kids and the skaters and stuff like that, and it started, you know, shifting that, which I had always hung out with them.
Yeah.
Because I do remember there was like this, just like high school stories, but there was like this, we used to all hang out in front of the cafeteria. And one day somebody pissed off the football players and they came out and they just started jumping all of us. Like, this sounds like a CW show, but they came out and they started jumping all of us. And when he found out,
is this around the first time we met, wasn't it?
yeah. Like you and I had just started hanging out, and then he found out that I had gotten jumped. And the next morning we go outside, because it was just like a daily rumble type thing. Like, they would come out and there'd be problems and everybody scattered, right? And the next day I walk out and I'm hanging out with all my friends, and then I just see like these gangster ass dudes like coming outside and just hanging out around us. See Bryan like, hey, what's up? You know, what's up, little bro? You know, whatever. And then I remember like the football players coming out to fuck with everybody, and then all of them stepping up and just being like, oh fuck, and they were just like, okay, went back inside. So like from the beginning, like it was just like this, like I didn't know anything, and he just like took me in like a little brother, and then it just, you know, it was always like from there, just kind of. And so like to see that change in me was probably like pretty dramatic, because I like from one day to the next, I'm like, my pants went from 2 sizes too big to 4 sizes too small. like we were buying, like we talked about this on the show with Adrian, we'd go into the girls section, go straight back, find your size. You don't even try them on because you don't want anybody to see you doing it. You just go straight up and pay and just hope for the best when you put them on. So yeah, OG scene kid days. I was wearing these skinny jeans before any of you guys had skinny jeans on the rack.
Facts. I can confirm that. That's facts. That is absolute facts. No cap.
So, but yeah, man. And then, so that change, and then coming out here, was like you know, when I came out here, like I said, that's when I started like smoking and drinking and partying, and then still played the punk rock stuff. But my dad was always like, he came out, and I remember this was after like we kind of like had a little falling out after I got kicked out, and then we reconciled. And Creative Void was playing Chain, and he came out for my cousin Philip's graduation, and I remember him saying like, yeah, I'll come check you guys out. The Lakers were in the championships, right? And so of course for most of the show he's sitting in the car listening to the Laker game. So I'm like, well, at least it's cool that he's here, you know what I mean? And I'll still remember like this is like, there's a few moments playing and shows that I remember getting emotional. And that was one of the times when like we're on stage, like at this point in time, like people knew who we were, so people were singing the songs and stuff. And you know the little wall and Chain to the left, so he's standing right by the wall, and I could just see him like he's just so pumped, like, you know, like bobbing his head, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Just suck it up and like, you know, this is for you, Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And then like he kind of, we had a conversation. He like was like, I just thought you were going down a path that I had gone down, and I didn't know how to handle it. He's like, and that's why, you know, I was like, you're gonna be better off with your aunt and your uncle. And I was like, well, I thought it was just about the music. He's like, dude, it's never about the music. Like, I think that's so fucking cool. Like, I think everything that you've been doing is super cool. And like, I fucking love seeing you on stage and stuff. I just, like you said, like I wanted you to make sure you handle everything, not just, you know, this. So yeah, man, it was definitely like one of those like early figuring myself out, crisis type scenarios, but it came together, you know. So.
Do you think having that moment, do you think that's what kind of almost, not that walking away from like heavy music wasn't hard for you to do, but do you think having that early validation from your dad, do you think that made it kind of okay to like walk away from?
I think so. I think like walking away, well, I think another thing too is having like everybody be on the same page. I think Creative Void would have gone longer. But the reality is at that point in time, like Pure Noise was starting to take off. everybody was like coming home and like working real jobs and starting to make real money. Yeah. Austin had left and he had moved up north. So there was like this time period where we're like, we can't replace the Bear, you know, so we're running as a 4-piece. And then it just kind of like started to fizzle out from there. And the intention was, I don't think the intention was ever to be like, Creative Void's done, you know?
Yeah. Hold on. Real talk. So sorry. My boy Jesse's stomach just growled like a
Was that what I heard it too? I thought the AC kicked it on the wall.
Like somebody get this man some steak, some pizza, or something. That shit sound like a grizzly bear. Like.
I had to truly like, okay, I have headphones, I'm hearing it more, and then I just turn that scene, just like, god damn.
Oh man,
I'm so sorry. I could not let that moment pass. Like y'all probably caught that on the audio. Like
hell yeah.
Someone's over here doing hardcore.
Oh man.
So sorry, bro. Go ahead, man. So sorry.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I think that walking away was also kind of like, because the walking away didn't happen right after Creative Void, because that's about the time when I was like, instead of me trying to find people that to do music with, that's when like the Mikey Diamonds shit came in. I was like, oh well, let's give this a shot, you know. And then like the first couple songs I put together were garbage. The next few songs were a little less garbage, you know. And then it just started to kind of like, I got lucky at that time because I like being in San Bernardino, I was surrounded by a bunch of people who would like freestyle and rap and stuff. And so I just started, like, we would just pass the mic, basically. You know, like say a couple bars, say a couple lines, and pass it on to the next person. And that helped my brain kind of, like, learn to really, you know, formulate, like, rhymes and things like that. And then it was just like, oh, let's put together a little mixtape, you know? And then that was like, oh, this mixtape's actually doing pretty decent. You know, I was on, like the Power 106 Who's Next like competition. I was like ranked pretty high for a while. Was just doing like all kinds of stuff like that, and then started playing shows, which was a huge adjustment for me too, because it's like going from 5 people to like, hey, it's just me and somebody with a USB stick playing you know, shit in the background. So it was definitely an adjustment, but I think I remember, because you guys were always on tour during that era.
Yeah.
So you guys never really got to like you would hear the music or see what was going on, and then that was kind of it. And then I remember sending you stuff, and I don't know if like, were you expecting that, or were you like, did it kind of catch you off guard, or was it like I don't think I ever asked you.
Yeah. It caught me off guard in a good way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
When I heard it, I was like, man, this kid is talented. like no cap. I was like, this asshole been sitting in the back all this time and just chilling. And back in the earlier days, I was pretty good. I was like, man, this kid done surpassed me. I was telling my brother, like, shit, Mike good, man. Like he could go all the way with it if he chose to. That's how I felt about it. Your cadences when you flowed, the content of the music, everything was really good. So you caught me off guard, but it was a good way. I was like, oh, this shit, okay, you got something to say. Like, man, do your shit. Handle your business. Go get it. You're in the perfect place to do it. Go get it. So I was caught off guard, but it was definitely a good way. And a little bit pissed, because I'm like, this motherfucker been sitting back all this time. Could have been done hopped on some stuff or whatever.
I think I think a part of that is that like the circle that I was with at that point in time, there's a few that I still like. Shout out to Chris, you know, McCall. But there's a few people around me that like I knew that weren't there for. They were there because it was like things were taking off, things were doing well, right? Like it wasn't like it didn't feel tight knit, you know. And then, you know, there were other people that were just like along for the ride, and then like the second I stopped and walked away, like ghost town, you know.
Right.
I think that had I been surrounded by like you guys, or like had I come back to Atlanta and done music with like you and everybody else, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
Because I think I would have stayed like hyped on it and pumped on it.
Right.
Versus like looking around and realizing all the people around me are here because either one, they get free studio time being around here, or two, they know that like I'm doing well.
Right.
Like, you know, even like like show guarantees were way higher than you know what we get in hardcore bands. And stuff like that. Like, you know, I think that like I wasn't surrounded by people during that era that like really had my best interest in mind. It was more just like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you know. And then it got to a point where it was like, if you do this, you're gonna. This is the type of song you got to do. You got to do love songs because bitches love love songs and shit like that. You got to do this type of. You got to do a party song. Yeah. And I was like, this all feels like a job. Like I feel like I'm doing stuff just to, you know, just to have some sort of hype. And the second, like that was when I truly like walked away. Right. Like I was just like, you know what, I'm cool, and I felt good about it. Like I felt good about being like, I'm done here. That was fun. This was cool. I'm out. And I just, like, I literally stepped away, and then like just seeing the amount of people that fell off, I was like, oh, I made the right choice. Yeah. You know, I definitely made the right decision. And then, so that's why, like, when Torture Culture happened, it was a lot of Jake just like, hey man, just come to practice and listen to the songs, write something, you know? I'm like, okay. And then that's when Wasted, the song that we did together, came into effect, because it was, you know, I walked away, and in that moment, it was the right thing for me to do. You know? But yeah, man, like I still, like we did last time you were here, we did a song, like, like we'll just like
play around with it.
Get together.
You know what, man? I can kind of understand the walking away part, because when I was in a group with my brother, my partner Jay South, we were so close. You remember 95.5 The Beat? Murph Dog had his own morning show, and he was looking to manage us, and he was getting ready to go back to New York and really wanted to handle some things for us. And just one night, things kind of got crazy with my brother and my buddy, and shit kind of just fell apart from there.
Yeah.
And to be at a point where somebody who's on the radio, have their own radio show, has taken interest, we're having business meetings, he's putting everything together, and for it to fall apart that way, I was just like, I was like, I'm kind of done at this point too, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's when I just started to focus more on live stuff, like playing live music, like the bass and drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, which I commend both of you guys, because y'all have groups and stuff, man. Sometimes that shit is rough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, man, I just rather do it solo.
Yeah.
But then it's even more time and effort doing it solo. So, you know, I don't know, man. For a lot of people out there who think this music stuff is hard, whether you're solo or in a group, it's not always easy. But I think it's probably 10 times harder in the group, though. Because you have different personalities, right?
Yeah.
Different ideas, different concepts, different things that sometimes, you know, you guys want to do differently and things like that. You know, I think it's interesting on how both of you guys make it work.
Well, making it work is
you know,
I don't know if making it work falls into my category. We just show up and play.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, for anyone, because my band, the name, you know, it's been around. We've been together since. The name's been around since '99. Okay. That's when we started. But it's like, you know, making it work. If you look at the list of past members, you realize that it's a lot of like, you know, in different stages of life. Like we lost our first original members. We lost them to college, basically. Okay. You know what I mean? Because it's like from high school that transition out. Yeah. And then as we went, you're always finding, you know, one of the weird things, because my personality, I'm pretty passive and I'm pretty laid back, but when it came to music, I think I always had this weird, like I knew what my family wanted from me and what my family worked to provide for me as far as opportunities, like go to school and all that stuff. Right. And I think I always had that in the back of my mind. So in a weird way, I was always I could be very, I don't know the word, decisive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people don't know this, but like, I'm the one who kicks people out of the band.
Right.
Like, I was the one that was like, if you're not coming with, like,
Mm-hmm.
no offense, but like, we're going to find someone who will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so we've had a lot of member changes and stuff. So it took a long time to get a core or a group that it was like, for the most part, we all have the same, at least, dedication to this.
Right.
We're gonna always go back and forth on ideas,
and,
artwork, merch ideas. Like for myself, I was just like, as long as we're playing music that I can like get behind, I can write lyrics that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Then all the other stuff, you guys figure it out.
Right.
I'm not gonna be wearing our t-shirts. You know, you guys figure that stuff out.
Right.
Facts.
And so it's it is hard, but what you said kind of hit me. Like, you know, you were at this opportunity or at a turn, like a crossroads where like things were happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think with us, you know, we were finally, after all the years of like grinding and doing all these tours, and we played so much, and then we're finally getting to the point where like we were actually like every tour was becoming like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got on this tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're getting the next one. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting on this tour. And it was all these things were starting to happen for us. We signed back with Pure Noise, the label that, you know, we helped start. Literally us, or we were the first two bands on there.
Right.
And then to come back, and when we came back, I mean, we were easily the smallest band on that label now. Like it just grown so big.
Right.
And so we had everything was lining up for us. All these opportunities were there, and we were just burnt out.
Yeah.
We were just completely burnt out. And you know, stepping away at first, I don't think either of us.
Nobody knew it was going to be that long.
We didn't even know that we could.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even know that we could actually take a real break because we'd never really taken one. And then, you know, I think for all of us, we all it was nice to be able to like step back from music and then just see that we all had different things that we want to at least try to do. And, but you know, it was hard because I felt like, you know, in a lot of ways, like we were getting to the area that we'd worked so hard to get to.
Right.
And then we get there and we were just kind of like, it's almost like we're like too tired.
Right.
It's like we're too tired to keep going now. It's like,
Well, and then not to mention, so they got into a pretty gnarly van accident too, where
I lost your van.
you know, the van was shot pretty much.
Wow.
Lost the trailer, like they left the trailer there, didn't you?
Yeah, left the trailer merch racks.
Yeah, and he was driving. So like there was this whole like, even like mental health aspect of it that came with it too, where it's like it basically PTSD and stuff like that. So then you're like, if I'm on the road, this could happen again. Right. You know, these situations could happen again. And that's, you know, and I remember like very clearly that time too, in that era where like Martin would call me and be like, Doug, we're doing this. And I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what you're doing? You're touring with who? Like you're going on the road with what? Like you're playing what festival? Like,
and this is like from years of us being like, like, dude, we're on talks of doing this tour and then fall through.
They just fall through.
Or we'd get on it and then we get bumped. Like they'd bring in a bigger band and we're like,
right.
So,
but the grind and the work ethic there behind No Bragging Rights was always like this crazy, like they would try and like in the earlier days, or like when I started coming around, like they'd be like, we're trying to get this tour, it's not happening, fuck it, we're gonna book our own tour.
Right.
Like you book your own dates. And it was just this like, we're doing a 6-week tour and we booked every date on this fucking tour. You know, you know, and then like that grind is just like some cities and some shows you have like hundreds of kids that come out, and then the next night you play to 4. You know, and then you're like, all right, let's limp it to the next, like, you know, hopefully we sell 4 shirts to the 4 kids that are there, so that we have gas money and our $5 per diem, you know. And so like that grind is just crazy. And then it was, I don't think like when you guys like took a break, I was like, it's not gonna be long.
dude, I don't think anyone thought it was gonna be that long. because we couldn't. I like. It's kind of crazy. Like I don't feel like, oh, we were meant to get in an accident. I don't think that, but I do think that major, whatever you want to call it, blessings or whatever, came from that. That bad situation.
It was an eye opener.
Yeah, it provided an opportunity for us to like, okay, we have to take a break, right? We don't. We literally can't transport to our next show. I mean, unless we go in on another van payment and all this stuff, like, all that stuff we could have normally done, and we were always very resilient. We've had our engine go out on us when we were like, and being stuck in New York. We've had all these.
Van?
No, one of our main 16-seater, the engine completely went out. I mean, we've had all kinds of things happen, and we've always been able to rally. But I think just at that time, everybody was just kind of, everyone just needed a break. We needed a break, and we weren't really getting one because these opportunities.
Right.
It's like, hey, let's not book anything from let's take the summer off.
Right.
We get offered Warped Tour. Okay. Let's take the fall off. We get Census Fail.
Yeah.
Or Riding Out or whatever it was. And like so it's like all these tours were like, oh, we can't say no to that.
Yeah.
Right. And then, and if we didn't get in that accident, because those offers weren't stopping.
Right.
We had offers even when we knew we were going to take like our break, it was like we had these offers waiting for us to come back.
Right. Right.
And so it's like, if we wouldn't have been in that accident, it would have just kept going. Our burnout would have gotten to the point where I think our breakup would have been ugly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I think we kind of, it was a shitty thing that happened, but we were able to make it, it was able to provide us much needed rest, and then for us to do other things. I think I like that I was able to, I didn't want to go back to school. Like that wasn't like, oh, I want to go back to school. But as Mike was saying earlier, like for me, I got really into mental health and suicide prevention, things like that. And so I just took that as an opportunity. I was like, now I get to actually learn about this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's pretty dope. And part of your story, when you're talking about how if someone has to get put out the group, you put them out, and you talk about how over the years the group has kind of become interchangeable. People leave or whatever happens. You kind of remind me of Otis Williams of the Temptations. If you ever check out their story. No, seriously. If you ever check out their story, he was the same way. He was like the heartbeat backbone of the Temptations. So if people had to get put out or whatever, he made that decision, but he was doing it all based on the purpose of keeping the actual group or the Temptation brand together. So that's actually kind of dope, man, because I think that is rare. They were back in the 60s and 70s, and to hear about this in the 1990s, 2000s on up, I think that's really rare. But that's probably why it still works for you guys, because you're the backbone who kind of has to make those hard decisions that no one wants to make. Be like, damn, and I don't know the member of your group, the names of the people in your group, but hey, Johnny, you're fucking up, man. Get it together. Johnny keeps doing the same shit. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to let you go. Yeah. Nowadays, or let me say not nowadays, but at least back when I had a group and knew other people who were doing group projects, it's like, man, one person mess up, that's pretty much it for the rest of the group. It just dismantles.
Yeah.
But because you can kind of make those decisions, and that helps keep your brand tight. So yeah, that's exactly who you reminded me of when you was telling that story. Otis Williams from the Temptations. If you ever get a chance, man, look up the story of the Temptations.
Dude, I'm gonna
but that is exactly who he was for the Temptations, and that is one of the biggest groups. I don't care what genre. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, purple. You're gonna know My Girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna know Ain't Too Proud to Beg and all those classics. But part of the reason he made it work was because he had to be that backbone for that group.
Yeah, man. That's sick.
Yeah, man.
And this is, there's also other people. It wasn't just me being like, "This is what I."
Like, fuck you, you're out.
Yeah, it was usually there's some discussions that went on, but yeah, it's a weird dynamic. The joke is like you're dating 4 other dudes.
Yeah.
So it's like you're having to learn different personalities.
Yeah.
I would, people would ask because like once 2005 is when we kind of got more of like a solid base of what the band was.
Mm-hmm.
It was our buddy Martin and Christian, and we were kind of like the base at that time. And then after that, we added pieces, and so I think when it was easy it was not easy, but like it was when you know someone that well, then like fights, they can be intense, but then they're usually done.
Right.
Because if they keep going, then it's because someone just wants it to keep going.
Right.
It's like, dude, I know exactly why you're upset, and I know what to do. If I want to keep this going, I know how to keep this going.
Right.
And if we want to end, we should just, let's just move on. So I feel like we were all pretty good about, like if someone's still mad, it's just like, okay, now it's either on you for being angry, or someone is provoking this to keep it going. Because like, I don't know. Did we lose the camera?
We lost 2 cameras. We still have the main one.
No, you're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's being in a group is it's rewarding, and it's nice to have that camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be interesting to keep afloat.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's like a it's a machine, you know, like especially when you're involved with a band or having multiple people that you're like you're kind of all in this together, but you have to all be on the same page.
Right.
Like one little, cog in the system that doesn't, work well with the others it'll tear that down. But yeah, man, it's a grind. Regardless.
It definitely is, man. For me, I kind of switched up the way I do things now. So I got a group called Gravity, but we're just a band, right? So we do cover stuff, but we also do stuff with like local artists and stuff. They might want to hire us to come bag them up, play for them, whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I find that to be a lot more easier. You know what I'm saying? I got my buddy, which I know TJ. He's on the drums. I got another buddy, Nashawn. He plays keys, and we just kind of keep our core, and it's a lot less stressful. If an artist wants to do something, they'll hit us up. We'll go play, go do the gig with them. Let that be it, and
That's cool.
But the fact that y'all keep the artistry part still going, I think that's real dope. For me, like I said, I think all those years ago, kind of was just like, yeah, I'm kind of good on that. So that killed it for me, but because I still love the musical aspect of it, I still want to play and do things like that. That's more kind of where I'm fitting in with it.
Yeah, there was a time, I think it was right before the pandemic, where, because my band had stopped touring in 2000, like early 2015, early 2016 is when we actually stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I didn't really want to do. I don't want to be in any bands, basically.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But what did come along, which was really fun, was our buddy Chris actually played guitar in both of our bands at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Lives in Georgia now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to look him up in case I need a guitar player for a gig. Yeah.
Well, we can get him on a guitar. We'll see about that.
But him, I don't even know how we even started or whose idea it was, but
PMJB.
Yeah. So he was, I think he was just like, hey, me and his cousin Justin, who's also a singer from another band.
Okay.
They were like, we want to do covers. We want to do like, we'll do punk rock songs, but we'll make them, pretty,
right,
or sad, whatever we want.
Right.
And then like they had me sing, and it was so much fun. Just two acoustic guitars.
Yeah,
it's not a care in the world.
Not a care in the world. And we called, and then we ended up calling our band PMJB, which is playing music just because.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, which is also a lyric of a band that we like.
Mm-hmm.
But like some of that, like I would still love to do that now.
Yeah.
Like it was just fun. Like we covered everything from, we covered like punk bands like NoFX, and then we did like a Creedence Clearwater Revival song.
Okay.
We did a Tom Petty song,
Mm-hmm.
which is like ironically like one of my favorites to do live.
Free Falling.
Like,
Until I showed you John Mayer's cover.
oh dude, that bummed me out so hard. Cause it's like the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then now that makes me think, because if I'm being honest, I ripped off this guy named Trevin Hunt,
Okay.
who was on The Voice.
I heard probably ripped off John Mayer.
Yeah, or something. There's a lot of ripping off, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it just music. So all I'd say is I was happy just doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy just doing karaoke. Like I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Being able, but then now, having the band back,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice because it's back, but it's back on our terms.
There you go. Yeah.
We
I think that's important.
yeah, we got to sign. I mean, he's not gonna watch this, but shout out to Jake, the owner. He knew our situation.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that like we're all in a different place musically. We're not trying to make it now.
Right.
At least for me, myself personally, I'm writing because I see my band as like as advocacy towards causes that I believe in. So for me, that's why I like to do this, and it provides that opportunity. It's like my favorite way to like help,
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, our label gave us an incredible deal, just to basically just like, I don't know how to explain it other than just they are helping us just get our music out. They wanted to help us out.
Right.
I think you can it's hard to say about most labels, and it'll probably sound like this because we love Jake and we're friends with Jake, but like I think Pure Noise genuinely gives a fuck about music.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And the bands.
Yeah,
like,
the bands that are on the label.
And I think it's because Jake grind. He grinds so hard.
Yeah.
Not even just like he's been in bands. He's done the band stuff.
Played
And
in my
then
band.
yeah. And then he worked as an intern for a magazine company. He worked an intern for another record label.
Right.
And he's like he hustled,
Yeah.
He's and being a hustler himself, he recognizes it in other bands. So, I don't think his success is an accident by any means. Like that dude works his ass off.
Right.
And I think it's cool that he still focuses on the bands.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys need to do to be successful? Let me help you. So,
Yeah, it's huge to have support and backing like that. Even like even with Torture Culture, dude, like when we first put the singles out, I hit him up and I go, "Hey man, I'm not looking for anything. I'm not like I don't want anything from you other than just as like my homie, like check this out. Like let me know what you think of this, because I've been gone for so long and done this for so long." And then he was like, "Dude, like I'm actually stoked on it." And then he put us on the Pure Noise like punk and hardcore playlist on Spotify, which has like 52,000 like subscribers to that was so huge for us.
Right.
And I was just like, "Fuck, man, that's like you didn't even have to do that.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
You didn't have to do that," and that was just so huge. And so yeah, I really think that Pure Noise gives a fuck still, like about music and everything. So it's
we straight. I talked about this before. Like we told him we were recording just because he's our friend, out of respect.
Yeah.
Right.
Because technically, we were still under contract. Like the label had the option on our next release.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas we were like, well, let's just make it easy for them. We're not going to be touring.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not even writing a full length album. We're writing an EP.
Right.
And we're gonna just record it. We're gonna record it ourselves, fund it ourselves, and we just like in my mind, the label has just been grown so big. Why do they want to take us on?
Yeah.
Right.
What I just said, we're not gonna tour. We're just doing
we
it.
have nothing to offer you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And so, just out of respect to the label and Jake and stuff, I was like, hey man, this is what our plan is. We're recording. I just want to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
And also in a way, kind of like no hard feelings for you to pass on this.
Right. Right.
Like we get it, totally understand. But Jake being Jake was just like, that's awesome. You guys have, he said something really cool. He said like, we earned, or like we've, basically, like, he's like, if that's what you guys want to do, you guys have earned that. Like, I heard it. I heard it too.
I keep thinking it's the AC kicking on the wall. That's why I don't even...
All cap, man. That's your stomach.
I heard it clear as day that time. That shit sounded like a deathcore vocalist warming
I
up.
need to get some snacks in here.
Lorna Shore who?
Yeah. Jesse Ramos over here.
But but yeah, so he was just kind of like, he's like, yeah, you guys, if you guys want to do that, you guys are free to do that. He's like, but he's like, if you don't mind, whenever you guys have demos with vocals, I just want to hear them.
Yeah.
And so when we had 3, we did here at Mike's house.
Yeah, we did them here.
Sent them over to him, just kind of like let him see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just like, well, he's like, I respect that you guys want to do this on your own, and you guys, that's awesome. But let me just send you what we can do on our end, because we just want to help you.
Gotcha.
Like, want to help you. I think we can, and so, yeah, he sent, like I said, he gave us this really awesome deal. And, yeah, he let us put it out on there, and, it doesn't hurt to release with them.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Not at all.
yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. So it's just cool. Again, like going back to how Jake didn't have to do those things. He didn't have to do it with us.
Right.
He really didn't have to. We're not bringing value in the sense of what he can do for us as opposed to what we're doing for the label, right?
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then now we get to play in Pacific Northwest, and
Yeah, we're by the way, hit the either the Torture Culture or the No Bragging Rights Instagram link in bio, or even our own link in bios.
Yeah.
Because you guys can get the pre-sale tickets for all the shows.
Yeah.
All 3 of the shows, they're available now.
yeah.
Sick.
And we're doing a contest soon, so
Oh, is that
For
it's
free
happening?
ticket.
Okay,
yeah, I was supposed to do that this weekend, but
let's do a Walking Blind one too.
yeah, dude, yeah.
That's just yeah. So there's one thing I kind of want to bring up, and I want to talk about this a little bit. So for the people that are around me and the people that hang out, and I'm looking at Jesse right now. So it's pretty much like if I care about you and I give a shit about you, I'm gonna roast you 24/7.
Absolutely.
It's not roasting, it's demolishing. You won't find anything in the world to just like, yeah, that's you.
That's a form of love.
That's a millennial.
And I take it as that.
And I want to point out that I learned all of that from this man right here. Because I got roasted and I got
have the answer, guys.
Well, hey, listen, but almost 20 years later, we're still here though.
yeah.
So
The reason I kind of brought that up is because like I was so quiet and like, kind of shy and passive, growing up, and then just being around this, like being around you, like a bunch of people, like I learned how to become a talker, right? And that kind of led into voiceover, shit like that. And so when Bryan had got married, because you told me you wanted to tell the story. When Bryan had gotten married, he was like, "Hey, will you be my best man?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, of course, dude. I'm gonna fly out there." I was upset that he wouldn't let me get skinny pants on the suit. Those motherfuckers were the baggiest pants I've worn in all that time frame. And since then, those are the biggest pants.
They really weren't that baggy, bro.
Man, you couldn't even see the shoe underneath the pant leg. You could. You're like this much of it. Had some nice ass gator shoes, and we couldn't even see the alligator.
They just didn't hem yours right or something. I don't know.
So he asked me to be his best man, and like at this point in time, I'm like, I'm honored, whatever. And I go and now, mind you, of course, this is at Friendship Baptist Church.
Yeah. Keep in mind, my pops is a pastor.
His pops is a pastor.
Yeah.
My my family and like Vinco's family were the only of lighter complexion in the crowd, right? Family wise. You know, there were a few homies here and there, people here and there. And so like you could point out our families in the crowd, right? So we go and I remember when I first got there for like the rehearsals and stuff, I came in, I'm wearing Jordans and like a cutoff vest, you know, like short sleeves, tattoos and everything. And they like, it's like a record stopped in the church. They all turn and look at me. And then his mom comes out, Mom!
Yeah, dude, my mom loves you, bro.
And then so, you know, like I said what's up to her. And then I start talking to everybody. And so we do the wedding, you know, everything goes great. And it comes to the best man speech. And I was like, I'm about to kill this shit. I was like, right now, no, that's not a good idea. So I got Bryan because we opened up the speech, and I was like, you know, and it's probably not word for word, but I was like, you know, when Bryan asked me, you know, or when I talked to Bryan, he had asked his smartest friend to be his best man, and he said no. I was like, so then he turned around and he asked his funniest friend to be his best man, and he said no. I was like, so then he went to his most handsome friend, and I couldn't say no 3 times in a row. So here I am, the best man. And it was just like, he was completely unexpected. Nobody was ready for it. I was like,
everyone laughing.
Dude.
Then I was like, you know, I've had a lot of firsts with Bryan, you know. Yeah. First time I was in a cop car. I was with Bryan. And I was like calling him out on, like, I'm getting my revenge now, motherfucker.
Mind you, my dad is a pastor.
Wait, what?
My ex,
head deacon.
Yeah, her dad is the head deacon, and her grandfather is a pastor too. So, her grandfather and my dad married us.
Oops.
So here's Mike. Yeah, first time I ever got arrested, I was with Bryan. First time I ever I was with Bryan.
First time I went to a girl's house, Bryan dropped me off.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%.
Right.
I'm just
Bryan's like, he drinks. He's
Man.
He hasn't mentioned. He's drunk.
He's had a few too many.
He's playing. He's a funny guy.
Oh man.
But yeah, that I would never forget that speech, because I mean to this day I still laugh about that. And you know, you're disqualified from ever being my best man again. When I get married again, I'm not asking you.
Bryan, so what you're saying is I have to wait for a wedding? For Mike's wedding to actually talk shit about him?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. But you know, I think you're going to have to try to get your bars up now, though.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah. See, this. Yeah. This has been years of jabbing and joning on each other and cracking on each other. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I'm writing in the background. No,
there you go. So you
taking notes.
There you go. Take notes.
Jesse, I wish you could have been around to be just around for a Creative Void, just for the amount of shit talking. That's something I think we kind of overlook because it was just so second nature.
Yeah.
Creative Void are pound for pound the biggest shit talkers to each other. Actually,
every member of the band.
Every member of the band. Yeah. And they all have their own way of shit talking. Yeah. Like probably the most unassuming, but just a savage is Steve.
Okay.
Savage. Just savage. Like some of the things he says, you're like,
he's been a bartender for years.
Okay.
So I mean, this guy,
right?
He's
quick witted with it.
Yeah. And Williams
is another level. Like some of the references Williams makes, like 10 minutes later, you'll be like, did he fucking say that? Yeah. What?
He was the first person that I ever heard do the whole. I can't think, but he was the first person to say like, "Hey man, if your knees are up to it."
It's like, he used to call Jake Chubby Chuck Norris. And Jake too. Jake would like if Jake decided to go in on you, it was game over.
Dude.
It was game over. That band definitely upped everybody's communication skills.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The best was when Jake would talk shit on our band about Christian. Oh,
Yeah.
he's like, yo, dog, what's up? Or, hey, blood, what's up with Islam? His wife's emailing me this shit. It's like, I don't know, dude. He's like, you guys really talk about this, or is Islam is going rogue? It's like, oh, dude, I don't know,
man. Well, I guess we're looking good on time. How what's next for you, man? One of the things we haven't even talked about is like we always joke that I'm like trying to stay 12 steps ahead and like in straight hustle mode and stuff like that. But this dude right here, for the longest time, like would just like out of nowhere just be like, yeah, I have this business, I'm doing this, like I'm doing this, and then like sell it off, move to the next thing, you know, like so like that hustle mentality is just always there. It's always been there.
right?
So what's on the horizon?
Man, right now, you know, I'm like, I know you know, but I got a parking lot sweeping business that I do back home in Georgia. So right now, I'm just going to focus on building that back up and trying to get that up. And honestly, that's probably on my end. I have a business partner. Maybe he wants to buy it and go full time with it. But once we build it up, I'll probably end up selling that off. And I honestly don't know exactly what I want to do next, but I know my end game is real estate.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to necessarily go crazy in the real estate game. Just get a couple of properties and either rent them out or Airbnb. I kind of like rent because I can put them on, longer contracts.
Yeah.
And not even many houses, man. My goal is maybe like 5 houses. And in the area we grew up in Swanee, decent sized houses now, shit, man, 1-bedroom apartment is like 17, 18, almost $2,000. And that's a lot for the area that we're in, right?
That's cheap out here. But.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap out here, but where I'm from, that's some good money. Because, my end game, like I said, is get a couple houses to rent. You're talking about 8,000 to 10,000, maybe more residual coming in, and get these kids grown. And I'm off overseas somewhere, man. Like I told you in Pops, I probably will end up retiring in the Philippines. Yeah, just staying over there, kicking it. It's a lot cheaper over there, but as long as that residual income's coming in, I'm good. A lot of people ask, you think you're gonna be a pastor like your pops? I'm just like, I got too many things going on with my life for that calling there. But while he's still preaching, I am more than happy to continue to run his music department.
Yeah, because you're the minister of music at the church, right?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So more than happy to continue to do that, and hopefully by the time he does call it quits, which I don't think he is. He says he wants to retire, but
he's saying he wanted to retire for like 10 years.
Dude,
Well, and here's the thing, and this is because me and him had that conversation, and I can tell that he's probably getting a little tired.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a lot of associate preachers under him that he can start to let preach a little more, which he has been doing. Mm-hmm. But my grandfather was a preacher too, and it just to me seems like the people in my family who preach and who pastor, they don't retire, they just die out of the position.
Right.
Yeah.
But one thing I was telling Pops is, I said, honestly, that's how it was in the Bible too. They preach until God called them home.
Right.
So there's no shame in that. And he's getting up there. He's 67, 68. As long as he can go fishing, which he still loves to do, I think he'll end up doing that until God calls him home as well. And until that time, I'm just going to keep doing my part to support his ministry and help out with the music. And hopefully by that time, I'll have my 5 or 6 houses and kids off in college and all that stuff, and I can go and kind of live the way I want to at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I 100% resonate with what you're saying about pastors, because my dad's also a pastor.
Okay.
And he retired. My brother too.
Okay.
My grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
My dad retired for all of maybe 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And so he's back at it. He's at a church right now,
Mm-hmm.
and he just celebrated his 80th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So I mean,
Happy belated to your pops, man.
Yeah, thank you. And he's I mean,
He's in better shape than all of us.
he's in better shape than all of us.
So is my dad.
Yeah. Well, he always has been.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Walking around looking like Booker T.
That's awesome. But yeah, I think same thing too. Like you know, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a life of service
Right.
like that.
Right.
It really is.
It's really a calling.
It's a true calling.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you know, whereas there's no clocking out.
Right. Absolutely.
If he's needed for something, you know, he goes. Someone's sick, he goes.
That's
If
right.
there's a funeral, he goes. If there's a wedding, he
Absolutely.
goes. Someone needs counseling, he goes. You know, it's truly amazing, and I always have the highest respect for anyone in service, but
Absolutely.
obviously I get to see a lot of firsthand from
Mhm.
seeing pastors and how they do life and stuff, and so
And not just that, I think for the good ones too. You know what I mean? You have a lot of preachers out there who are trying to fleece the flock and all that stuff. But when you truly have a good person trying to live the way that they preach and stuff like that, you know, that's not easy.
no.
You know what I mean? And that's why I said when people were like, "Oh, you think you're gonna pass it like your daddy?" I would have to be his age to get up there because there's some stuff that I just don't know if I'm willing to give up
Right?
right
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? And you know, you don't want to be a hypocrite either.
Yeah.
What I've always liked about your pops though and his sermons is always like, you know, we would as kids go out and we would party on a Saturday night, you know, whatever, come home late, and he would be like, "I don't care what you guys do, just show up to church."
Yeah.
Right? He'd show up to church and he'll call you out from the pulpit. Like if you're
Yeah.
falling asleep or something
Yeah,
like that. He'd
oh,
be
you
like,
back there, somebody back there asleep, huh?
I'm like, "Oh, look like y'all got into something last night, huh?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
you know, and that should be
That should be normal.
what church is. Church is that's why you go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Always go. It should always be an open door thing. You know, I you know, Mike knows this, but I can be very. I can, for as positive as people paint me out to be, I can be very cynical at certain things, and I'm very
Just a little.
bit. But you know, the minute I hear, you know, it's you know this church, you know, they turn to this person away, or like they ask this person to leave. For me, I'm like, well, they don't have the spirit in there.
Right.
That the heart doesn't exist there. Because the easiest, you know, I don't care what your education level is or how hard is it to understand. Love your neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's-
love the Father. It's like
Those are the two pivotal things that Christ said.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you see one, and it's like when you see that they're not doing the first one, and they're turning people away, and they're doing all that stuff. It's just like that's not
That's one thing, you know, because I said, you know, me and my pops didn't get along for quite some time. But one thing I can say about him is even though there's been several things that we've disagreed on, him nor my mom never been judgmental people, right? So their stance is, you know, if God is able to forgive you, there's nothing that we can't forgive you for. You know what I'm saying? Don't let your past or even what you're going through right now stop you. At least try to come to church. Like they don't care what you've done, where you've been, where you're going. Just try to come and get a word. It's no judgment. And I think some of the churches that you're talking about are like that. Oh, we're going to turn this person away for this or whatever. That's not your call. And you know, I think my dad has a good understanding of that. When he gets up and preach, he's preaching and teaching on what God told him to do. But at the end of the day, you know, of course, we'll say, oh, you know, sin is wrong, this, that, and the other. But I'm not going to sit here and send you away because
Right.
who hasn't sinned?
Or because you don't believe.
Or
because
yeah,
you don't.
like how could I?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That goes against the basis of the religion.
Yeah.
Christ came so he wouldn't turn
Right.
anyone away. All you have to do is get there and accept it.
And all
So,
I'm
yeah.
saying is his mom never gave me shit about my tight pants. Okay.
No, she didn't, but I damn sure did. Motherfucker was nut huggers, bro. Cutting off circulation. You might not be able to have children in the long run.
Oh man. Well, on that note,
You're like, and now we're out of time.
and we're back. Well, shit, man. I'm excited that you are like had a chance to actually finally be on the show. I'm excited that
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. That
Yeah.
I wish you were in town longer. Like things have been just so crazy that we just you know. But like I'm pumped that you're here. I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy I can validate some of the stories that I told so that people know I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah. No cap here, man. We've lived a good youthful life back then. That's
I will say this.
Stories. Those you guys are,
That's right.
developing stories they can share, and you can see a real
growth.
the growth.
The growth
right.
and progression. I will say this. So I'll end with this story. We were, driving home one day, and we were in our buddy Matt's car, right? And we didn't all fit, so we had it was us and a couple girls in the car, and our buddy Jason was riding home with us, and we put him in the trunk because we didn't have any other space. This is a 96 Eclipse.
Yeah.
The Fast and the Furious Eclipse, right?
Yeah.
So we're driving.
It's been raining that day.
It had been raining. We were in the back rows, headed towards Scales Road.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all laughing, joking around, telling jokes, stuff like that. And Bryan reaches up. It's like somebody was sitting on his lap. He kind of moves him out of the way, reaches up, and as a joke, pulls the e-brake of the car. And we go sliding all over. And in Georgia where we live, this road was a 2-lane road, and then there's woods on either side. Yeah. Man, that we drove straight into the embankment, and everybody's like, oh. The car was fine. Jason in the back was not fine.
I forgot all about Jason in the trunk, man.
Oh my gosh, he was in the trunk.
He was in the trunk.
Was in the trunk.
He was in the trunk.
Jason was a little dramatic about things, so we were all like, and then we hear, hey, what the fuck, man? Banging on the back of the truck. And then so we popped the trunk and let him out, and he jumps out. He's like, my shoulder's dislocated. I don't think it really was, but then he went up to a tree and because he was this Korean dude who was Korean but also kind of thuggish, but he was he was the MMA guy before there were MMA guys, and so he of course went to a tree and popped his shoulder back into place and was like, man, what the fuck, man? And we're all just looking at him. We're like, get back in the trunk. So growth and progression, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, listen. Good times, man. Some of the best times, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So we'll that being said, obviously anytime you're in town, you're gonna be on the show. Maybe one of these days we'll take the Fields on Wheels on a road trip and hit Atlanta.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, make sure you guys comment, subscribe, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
I just want to give a quick shout out. I was in Dover, Delaware.
Oh yeah,
this
right.
weekend for a wedding. Or not. I wasn't at the wedding. I was more the reception, the after party. But
you were the featured artist.
Yes, but I just want to give a little shout out to David and Erica. Congratulations on your wedding.
Congrats.
Thank you for bringing us out. We had an awesome time, and it was cool meeting everyone. So, and my buddy Paul is the one who made all this happen.
Mm.
We'll go into it later. I can tell you guys later, or probably next week. I can go into it more. But it was a really cool experience, and I'm extremely tired, which is probably why I was probably the most quiet I think I've ever been on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really cool experience. So I'm glad I got to spend that with them.
Sick.
But yeah. And this was a fun podcast. I'm glad I got to finally meet you, man.
Man, I'm glad to get to meet you.
Heard a lot about you. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me again, and I had fun. Definitely got to do this again. And shout out to Aubrey again. Thank you for taking such great care of me in the Philippines. Matter of fact, the Philippines has such a huge music circuit out there, man. So one of these trips, I'm gonna have to get these guys out in their bands and see if we can go play some gigs somewhere out
I'd
there.
play the
man.
Philippines in a heartbeat.
I think it would be dope.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. And shout out to you too, Jesse. Nice to meet you, big man. And we're gonna have to go get this guy
we're gonna
some
get you some
food,
food,
man.
man.
Yeah. Because next time that stomach growls, it might be an earthquake in this mug. Everything.
All right, Mike. You need
I'm validated. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, follow us at Walking Blind Pod everywhere. Check out, if you only listen to the audio version, check out the YouTube. We're doing like some cool shit over there. And we will see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much. Check in on your homies.
Peace.